Hey, man, take care, man.
You want to race?
Hell nah. The cop's right there, man. Damn! Oh, my God.
Yeah, yeah.
I ain't even capping, man, I'm really about that action. Pull up on them, get to blasting on some real shit. Up on some real shit, up on some real shit.
Sour.
Clara, tell me what you see.
Beef and broccoli. Two guys who look completely different. 7.
Now take a look at this.
Watch out! Turn out signaling! Hit the brakes suddenly! Drive in the wrong lane!
No one is asking you to apologize for what your ancestors did. We're asking you to dismantle the systems they put in place that you still benefit from. You didn't whip Kunta, but you are standing on the neck of his grandchildren. If you are not consciously going, okay, what have I learnt, and what am I supporting, and what should I be supporting? And I think that that context is what we provide. It's who's telling you your history, why are they telling you your history, who wrote that history book the first time, and why should we be writing our history now?
Isn't it wild that you have to apply for a license to fish? I have to apply and ask the government to go out as a free being of this earth and ask their permission to feed myself. Isn't that wild? Now, the reason in particular that's wild is I've come to that realization because I don't work all the time anymore, and now I have enough empty space to think about it, which leads me to the thought of, okay, it's probably intentionally designed then that everybody stays working all the time, because when you're busy and tired all the time, you don't have the mental capacity or energy to sit back and be like, what's going on here? Why do I not have the ability to go and fish if I want to as a free being of this earth? I have to ask permission or pay to be able to feed myself.
Pentagon is owned by the Farnese family, though.
Oh my God, nobody owns the Pentagon.
Well, if you look at the mansion of the Farneses in Rome, it is Pentagon shaped. They wanted that shape for the Pentagon. So,
which is a pentagram.
Yes.
Which is satanic.
The Pentagon. The pentagram has spikes. The Pentagon has the spikes.
But you could fit a pentagram inside the Pentagon. Right?
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. Good one. Yeah. And that's from the Farneses. The Colonna family, they own stuff like California, New York, the Stock Exchange. When you look at the Vatican facade, you'll see the names of the families. Just pay attention. Every time you see the Pope photographed, look around in the room. Look around at the plain-clothed people. You will see Borghesi's, Borgia family. The Borgias are the conquistadors that run all of South America. I would say the Borgias and the Farneses are more South America, where the Jesuits really run amok. They killed Lincoln, and he identified them. He says, those evil Jesuits, they will get me one day.
Israel protects Palestinian human rights. Yes, it does. Israel protects. Only Hamas is responsible. Right? You agree with that?
No, not really.
You don't agree with that? Right? Tyranny's not cute. Hamas is not cute.
That flag you wave is the psychological genocide of this planet.
Do you not agree with that, sir?
This institution is part of the people who enslaved the whole planet.
Explain why we're not getting to see these images live. The Apollo 11 landing was broadcast live. Why now don't we have the technology to see all of this live?
And we're getting the pictures on the TV. You got a good picture, huh?
He's on the moon.
And the second man is on the moon. Neil Armstrong, they're getting ready to move the TV camera now out to the panorama position. Okay, as far as distance goes, Neil, and we'll line you up again when you finish the panorama. Tell me if you got a picture, Houston.
I got a beautiful picture, Neil.
issues with file transfers. We did have a number of communications glitches. We had either forward or return link problems.
Also, during coast in the zero gravity of environment of space,
It's very difficult to transmit on the fly, if you will, and get that all the way back to Earth.
struggle to get communications.
Unfortunately, they're going to be in the darkness. They will not be sunlit, so we won't get very good video of them.
Now this is scary. There is a dark theory about Samsung phones. You know how they always pride themselves on having a better phone than iPhone?
Yeah.
They say that their cameras are the best. They say you can literally point your camera at the moon, and the quality is better than the telescope. They do really advertise like being able to zoom into the moon. So, I watched this video by Shane Dawson and watched this clip. You see how the guy's able to zoom into the moon? Yeah, pretty good, right? Like it looks really good, right?
Yeah.
So Samsung actually just came out saying how they actually fake moon pictures on Samsung phones, and they used AI to do this. But a guy made a video showing how Samsung's able to do this. Like, watch this clip. It's insane how he does this. He found a picture of a regular white circle and placed it on the other side of their house. They then zoomed in as much as they could to trick the phone into thinking it was a picture of the moon. The phone camera then replaced that white circle with a picture of the moon. It was just a white circle, and then it turns into the moon. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Any white circle will turn into the moon, dude. That's a scam. Who knows what other technology's out there that's like deceiving us with AI?
Mira, mira. ¿Y ahora qué? ¿Eh? Mira. ¿Y ahora qué? ¿Cómo te queda? ¿Ah?
The discovery of these miners shocked the whole world. As early as the 19th century, it became clear that the process of coal mining held some amazing surprises. The development of industry contributed to the mass appearance of mines, especially in the United States. The age of the deeply buried seams was beyond doubt, namely 350 million years. But they began to find objects that could not have come from that period. Here, for example, at a depth of more than 40 meters in a mine in Illinois, were found bronze coins with incomprehensible images and signs. To identify them and explain that the coins were made in ancient coal, it was not possible. But in addition to these coins, were also found unknown to mankind artifacts of an ancient civilization, the age of which cannot be measured. What other surprises opened to us coal mines, and why scientists hide from us?
It's overwhelming doctors like Pia Myers, who had this message.
I'm trying to encourage everybody to please take this Delta variant very seriously due to the transmissibility. It is incredibly contagious and our children are getting sick. I can't do this.
Clearly overcome with emotion.
Thank you. I can't do this.
We were all
all probably about 10 years old when the Reagan-Bush administration got into office. So our view of democracy is pretty much completely comprised of that.
Our generation is the first generation of people who government is not a force for good in our lives.
You know, we need to give our youth the opportunity to run this country. Because all the older ones, they done fucked the country up.
Hey everybody, have you heard the news? There's a back to school sale at Payless for you. Yeah, they got what you need when the summer ends. Like pencils and notebooks, crayons and pens, watercolors, bookends, tube socks and shoes, scissors and erasers, anything you choose. Lunch boxes, pencil boxes, notebook paper, glue, typewriters, calculators, tape recorders too. Even got a scooter, gotta get the best. You're gonna get more, but you're gonna pay less. So what's the best part about back to school? It's a back to school sale at Payless.
So if you found yourself wanting a BMX too, this is probably why. Very nice to meet you and thank you for coming on the show. Let me explain to you how I bike gifts or presents for people, all right? And this is the best way to handle, bar none, the problem of, you know, what to settle for when you're going to buy gifts for somebody that's a little bit difficult to buy for, all right? Now what I do is rather than recycle the same sort of two tired bottles of wine or box of chocolates, which are no fun to receive, I go out and I buy anything, and then I make that person fall in love with it, all right, by creating a strong feeling of desire for that object. Does that make sense? Yeah. And it absolutely works. They get all sort of pumped up, you know, they get that feeling of that positivity you were describing. They beam excitement for it. And, you know, it's a win-win thing because they get a present that they love and, you know, I get rid of some stuff out the back of my kitchen cupboard or whatever. But what I want you to really understand about this is that that feeling is so strong, can be so extreme that it can replace the memory of what they actually wanted. So even though 2 days before they may have said, I want X, whatever that is, you know, like a really nice car, like a BM or an Xbox or something like that, something they really wanted, suddenly now they think they always wanted what I got them. Does that make sense? Yeah. Excellent, cool. Good, so, you can have anything you like. What's your dream present?
The BMX bike.
Have a look. You wanna grab that?
I don't know what's going on.
Aber weißt du, was mir aufgefallen ist? Die drehen nicht der Sonne weg. Alle, wohin gucken die denn? Da ist doch die Sonne. Sehr komisch.
Here's my sunflowers starting off. Now why do they keep turning away from the sun? Hence the word sunflower. Well, you see it facing off to the northwest right now. Well, over here's the sun. Hence the word sunflower.
You know, I've been living here a minute. There's probably 8 or 10 cows clustered. I thought it was weird the other day, but like, I mean, it's not even hot here yet. It's not even hot. Look at them all.
Oyster under a microscope.
you guys seen this? I guess it woke up and started producing babies! You can't freeze them to death. You can only boil them. You have to cook all of your food at least 212 degrees Fahrenheit.
So, what is MS? They never take it the next step, and what causes it? Well, finally, we have a really good pathologist, Dr. McDonald, down, I think it's in Florida, who actually did very careful sectioning of the brain and spinal cord and found out that 100% of the dead MS patients he had autopsied had parasites in their brain and spinal cord. Some of it was actually grossly visible to the naked eye. So we just accepted, over my whole 45 years in medicine, we accepted that the smart people at the universities were paying attention to this stuff. And what we're learning, thanks to COVID, I will say, is that they weren't paying attention, that this can't be by accident. One of the things, too, I'll say is that after 45 years in medicine and seeing them telling us things that are completely wrong over and over and over again, you finally wake up and realize this is not by accident. This is a long-term calculated plan to keep us sick for some reason and to kill us prematurely.
Nonsense.
You've just come back from Spain and you were talking about the chemtrails.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we lived in Spain 6 years. Never since we've been there did we see trails in the sky. We had clear skies, especially in May, particularly all through the summer, no problem at all. When we had a clear day, all we saw was a whiteout. Look, there's one up there right now. You can see it right now. But because
in real time.
Because it's cloudy, they're doing it above the clouds. We live in Suffolk. It's a farming community. They are deliberately causing rain to flood the fields so the farmers can't grow their crops, and they are trying to create a world food shortage.
I just took a fat shit on a small toilet, and I wanted to remind you that you can do hard things.
Coca-Cola just signed a 5-year, $1.1 billion deal with Microsoft. 5 years ago, it was discovered that there were fluorescent nanoparticles in Coca-Cola. Now, if I were a conspiracy theorist, I might think there were more to this partnership.
Now, according to reports, Microsoft and the Coca-Cola Company have announced a 5-year strategic partnership to align Coca-Cola's core technology strategy system-wide. So it is said to enable the adoption of leading-edge technology and foster innovation and productivity globally. Using Azure Open AI service, Coca-Cola is currently exploring the use of generative AI-powered digital assistants. Now, did you know they have found nanotechnology in Coca-Cola and in Pepsi products? Have a look at this. The biodistribution study in major organs indicated that the NPs were easily accumulated in the digestive tract, and they were able to cross the blood-brain barrier and dispersed into the brain. Questions, and of course suspicions, have been raised in recent years.
No one tells you that Stonehenge was rebuilt by cranes and machines in 1958. You're made to believe Stonehenge was a mystery, and we don't know how it was built. But how long have we been rebuilding it exactly? The truth is, the reconstruction effort started even earlier. In 1901, one of the stones was straightened and set in concrete. More work followed in 1919, 1920, 1959, and even as recently as 1964. These projects involved repositioning stones, re-erecting fallen ones, and using modern machinery to stabilize them. So why is this history downplayed? By presenting Stonehenge as an untouched ancient marvel, those in power keep its mystery alive, attracting tourists and maintaining a profitable narrative. The idea that our ancestors had lost enigmatic knowledge adds to the intrigue and fascination, overshadowing the fact that modern interventions played a big role. Now we know the truth about Stonehenge. It's not what it's made out to be, it's not ancient, it's a lie. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Rupus nigra, or the Black Rock, is a magnetic black mountain in the center of the Earth that has been deliberately hidden for centuries. It is the tallest mountain ever known to man. According to Gerardus Mercator, it has roughly 64 kilometers in circumference, and its height is approximately 13 to 18 kilometers above sea level, and it might even higher if it measured from the bottom, which we never know for sure. How deep this mountain goes to the ground maybe dozens or even hundreds of kilometers deep. We never know. It is so tall and also huge that can attract all compasses to the far south 4,000s of kilometers away. Compasses will not attract to a magnet. If the magnet is buried deep under the ground, it has to be a mountain to attract all compasses. And that is the Rupus nigra. As far as we know from mainstream narratives, the magnetic field in the North Pole is somehow buried deep inside the Earth. This is totally absurd, because a magnet will lose its electrical power if it's exposed to heat, like in the Earth's core.
Forget Antarctica for a second. What about the North Pole? Another area that's heavily restricted of free exploration. We're told it's nothing but ice sheets, but looking at many maps of the old world, it depicts a much different story. All showing a sacred continent separated by 4 rivers with a mysterious black rock in the middle, also known as Rupus nigra. This magnetic mountain was considered the reason all compasses pointed north, and was universally accepted as real. And it wasn't just the Europeans showing this land, it was Japanese, Chinese, worldwide. And the amount of detail explaining these lands is impossible to ignore. From first-hand accounts of inhabited islands, frozen rivers, and giant whirlpools, the most popular being Gerardus Mercator, whose map we still use today. In his letter to the infamous John Dee, he writes, "In the midst of the 4 countries is a whirlpool, into which there empty these 4 indrawing seas which divide the north. And the water rushes round and descends into the earth, just as if one were pouring it through a filter funnel. Beyond was a large magnetic stone, 33 miles in circumference. And it's not just voyagers and cartographers. Many cultures have depicted a sacred land in the north for thousands of years. In Hindu and Buddhist traditions, it's known as Shambhala. The Vedics called it Paradisha. The Norse called it Yggdrasil. And you've heard it from the Bible as the Garden of Eden. And that's only a few. This place has been dubbed the land of 1,000 names. So what makes more sense? Cartographers copied each other's life work for hundreds of years, and cultures worldwide depicted the north the same for thousands, or that it was all sourced from reality. And just look at the name of the most powerful company in the world, BlackRock. What do you think? Another coincidence, or truth hidden in plain sight?
Entry burn. Meanwhile, that second stage continuing to power Dragon into orbit.
I don't care what you say, that is a mouse.
It's going to continue to burn until 8 minutes and 44. Meanwhile, that second stage continuing to power Dragon into orbit.
I don't care what you say, that is a mouse.
It's going to continue to burn until 8 minutes and 44 seconds into flight. So a little over 2 minutes from now, we'll hear the call out SECO.
At 4:13.
Check this out. Give me some volume on this.
Over 99% of the world's internet traffic, including international phone calls and data transfers, rely on cables. Not satellites, cables. Let me show you something super interesting. This is the World Submarine Cables Map. I want you to think of South America as 1, Africa as 2, and Australia as 3. Notice how there is no cables from here to here or here to here. You might ask, why is that important? Here's why. The reason you will never see these cables connected is because look how far the distance is from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, and the vast distance from 1 to 3. But Ryan, what about these cables here? Oh yeah, you mean the short distance right here? But you might ask yourself, Ryan, why is that important? Over 99% of the world's internet traffic, including international phone calls and data transfers, rely on cables. Not satellites, cables. Y'all, pull up any map of sea cables and you will see that none of these touch. Because we live on a flat, geocentric plane.
Yeah, I'm amazed. God is kind of upset with me probably because I woke up and didn't say my prayers this morning, man. But I got woke up by this again in my face. What would you do? Look at this. Look at this. Look at that ball of light coming out of there. That's the sun. Coming out of what, though? Man, California ain't talking nothing about this. That's why I feel like I'm in a land of weirdos.
And that is far from the only example of the second suns being sighted. It seems like they are being spotted more and more with frequent regularity in the last couple years. But I think it's a sign of this cycle of our realm, as depicted in ancient times in petroglyphs in India, Arizona, and even excerpts from the sightings of it in the 1600s. And even after that, many newspapers historically reference this second son, sometimes even more being sighted in the skies. Some say it's Nibiru, some say we're living in a binary system. Whatever it is, I think it shows once again, history most certainly repeats itself. Question everything, friends.
My cock. Where's my cock? What? My cock.
Eita, menino, cheguei hoje, moro na Bandeira. Domingo de Páscoa, vim carregar você. Aqui, tô com uma de 80 mil, comprei ela, é adaptada, diferenciada, igual a eu aqui, ó. Diferenciada, diferente dos igual, mulher bandida. Bora buscar morena, menina. Morena bandida, tô educador.
Any woman who becomes pregnant, even if that woman suffers a miscarriage, even if that woman tragically makes the wrong choice and gets rid of the life within her through an abortion, or if the baby comes to full term, cells are exchanged between the mother and the child, so that after either a miscarriage, tragically, sadly, an abortion, or birth, those cells will remain in your body, ladies, for the rest of your life. You have living cells of all your children in your body right now, even if you had a miscarriage. Scientists discovered that when a woman becomes sick, who has been a mother, they noticed certain clusters of cells from her body going to the ill area in her body and would be seeking to make her well, to fight off whether it was a disease, whether it was a sickness, whatever it was. And guess what cells those were? The cells of your children. See, maternity has its blessings. That's why even at the beginning, when Adam and Eve fell, when God says you will be saved through childbearing, the word saved literally means health. When those cells run to the defense of the mother, even if the child no longer is here on earth through a miscarriage or through an abortion, your child is fighting to save your life.
I have a son in his 20s, and this is a bar that he dropped on me. And it crushed me, but I needed that. He said, if you really loved me the way that you said you loved me, you would have taught me how to survive in the situations that you were afraid of killing me, instead of protecting me and not teaching me how to protect myself. And that is what happens when mothers think that they can raise men. We don't teach them how to protect themselves the way that a man teaches a man how to protect himself. What we do is we coddle them, and we become this wall of security that come crashing down when they get to smelling themselves and they in their 18s and 19s, and now he can't live in your house no more, and you send him out into the world unprotected, and that's why he resents you.
Very interestingly, there were a set of changes happening in this country in the mid-'80s that conspired to, in the aggregate, change all of childhood. Stranger Danger was born with a made-for-TV movie, Adam, about the abduction and murder of Adam Walsh in 1983. Everybody tuned in for that show, and it scared the bejesus out of everybody. The Playdate was born in 1984. Parents started arranging play with other parents, deciding with whom and when, but also watching over it, hovering, micromanaging. Are they playing with the right things? Are they bored? Let me help them. The self-esteem movement. Give them ribbons and trophies, certificates and awards just for playing soccer or just for swimming rather than for being any good at it. A Nation at Risk was published saying American teenagers needed to be, more high achieving vis-a-vis their international counterparts. We needed more testing, more teaching to the test. All of these things meant that childhood was now watched and managed by parents. We also got safer in cars with seatbelt laws and car seat laws and bike helmet laws and bicycles. We got safer in our transportation. It led to this mindset of you can put a helmet on them always. You can bubble wrap every aspect of their environment. Prepare the road for the kid instead of prepare the kid for the road. All of those things happened in the span of 3 to 5 years.
Polygamy is when a man has multiple wives. But as a woman, we will put ourselves in a polygamous relationship because that is the order of how things are. But what happened in society, because of the programming, they made us think who we are is something wrong with who we are. So then we get reprogrammed to think that because I'm monogamous, I must be in a monogamous relationship, and it is wrong in a man's nature to want multiple women. But scientifically speaking, a man should have multiple women, just biologically how he is set up. And as a woman, the way we are set up, we can only bear one child at a time, you see. But as a man, once he has put his seed into a woman, he can continue to put it in multiple women. So the way that I view relationships and love, it's a group thing. It's about the group, it's about the whole.
Love or respect? What's more important in a relationship, in a marriage? Love has destroyed millions of marriages all over the world. Respect has never destroyed anything. So the simple answer is respect. Respect is more important. Respect is also a little harder. It's very easy to love someone who loves you. It's very easy to love someone who's lovable. There's nothing really intense or strong or stable about it, because love is an emotion. Emotions are fickle. Emotions need to be fickle. It's what gives them their excitement. How about now? You love me now? There's an excitement to love because it's unstable. If it becomes stable, it becomes boring. Unconditional love is not love at all. Unconditional love means my feelings never change. Then they're not feelings anymore. Respect is not an emotion. It can be stable. It can be consistent. It can be strong. And it can give the marriage the stability and the strength that it needs. Emotions are the flavor, the sizzle. It can't keep the relationship going. It can only spice up a healthy relationship. So the respect is the relationship. The love is the perk.
Because I do have a smart mouth. I am a little sassy, but I have the right to be. Look at the material. I just don't like a man that likes to go back and forth. Like a little bit, you're a man, I'm supposed to shut the fuck up a little bit. But it's like, why are we going back and forth? I just want to win the argument.
Oh, you want to let him win the argue just to argue?
I just want to argue, go back and forth. That's sassy.
So it's sassy because of the fact of the matter is that you wrong, and I'm trying to show you that you're wrong.
It doesn't matter if
excuse me, I was still talking. Thank you. That's sassy. See how that shit works? You got the right nigga now. Excuse me, ma'am. It's still not your turn to talk. I am still on the mic. Like I said, nothing wrong. Women, y'all supposed to want to fuck the man that can teach you something, correct? Don't you want to fuck somebody that can show you something? Don't you want to fuck somebody that can lead you? So why the hell when I try to lead your ass in the right direction of this motherfucking topic that we talking about, you get mad because I ain't let you win the goddamn discussion? Y'all motherfuckers is backwards as goddamn crisscross clothes in the 90s. That don't make no motherfucking sense. You want to fuck with a boss ass nigga. As soon as you get the boss ass nigga, you want to treat him like the worker. You were fucking with me because I can lead you. You was fucking with me because I can teach you something. You was fucking with me for all those reasons, and then when you get me, your ass want to win the goddamn argument. No, back to the apartments with that dumb shit.
Stay away from people who act like a victim in a problem that they created. There are people like that in the world, or some of you obviously know some of them. But they act like a victim in a problem that they created. That's gaslighting. There are people that do that. My antidote to that is this. Spend more time with people with whom you have a common future instead of a common past. Spend more time. I'm not saying that I'm not saying to cut people off. This is about prioritizing where you give a larger percentage of your time. We love people that have been a part of our history, that have helped us to grow to who we are and where we are. We thank those people. Thank the teachers in your life. Thank the people that have poured into you. Thank the people that have helped you to become who you are. I'm not saying that you forget them, but spend more time with people with whom you have a common future as opposed to a common past.
I have a rule. No black woman under the conditions of white supremacy should have a child before she's 30. No black male should become a father until he's 35. No more than 2 children, no closer together than 3 years apart. Do you see, now what am I doing? See, the white supremacy dynamic is not only putting the black male in check, but it is to inferiorize the behavioral functioning in order to hold an oppression, in order to have that sense of look at them and I'm superior to them. I really feel genetically inadequate, but I get a psychological kick by seeing them in a very degraded state. Do you see? And so the counter move is to understand what this dynamic is all about. I mean, it's just like if you're in a sailboat and you want to get to a particular point on the other side of the river, you have to know the current of the wind. And
Your gun control agenda? Yeah, I think it's a great idea, but I mean, listen, I don't think we lack for great ideas. As I've said many times, we've been having great ideas for decades. The problem is that Congress has not had the courage to act. And that is why, from the beginning, I have said, my agenda includes attempting to get Congress to act, but if they don't within the first 100 days of my administration, I'm going to take executive action. Because what we need is action.
Narcissists are bitter, resentful little cowards. They will have to land on either the hero or the victim side of the story. And as such, they'll cast you as the big bad villain to their victim. And they'll say whatever it takes, no matter how untrue, how cruel, how unkind, or how bizarre. No matter what it takes, they will work to assassinate and annihilate your character, and again, your reputation, to anyone who will listen. I mean, how dare you draw a line in the sand and say no more, right? No more abuse, no more bullying, no more lying, no more projecting, no more blame shifting. No more dirty little secrets, no more dirty big secrets, no more insults, no more criticism, no more deception, manipulation, or triangulation. How dare you say no more to all the pain and crazy-making insanity that they bring to the table? And it likely has nothing to do with your well-being or your best interest.
We're looking at over 220 million Americans who just in the last several months died. We are in the midst of a public health epidemic that has taken the lives of over 220 million Americans in just the last several months.
The SFO or Oakland airports should expect random stops and searches on the train.
This nation is at war with Islamic fascists.
President Bush approved raising the threat level to an unprecedented code red alert.
Suspects plan to leave the top of the bottle sealed with the original drink, but add a false bottom. And then they would fill the false bottom with a liquid or a gel explosive dyed red to match the color of the drink. After they mix the chemicals, the terrorists would use a flash from a disposable camera to detonate it.
And I think sending the National Guard into the airports doesn't do much. The airports are fairly secure with policemen and that sort of thing. We don't need automatic rifles in airports to spray the innocent passengers.
The first known man to have sold his soul goes by the name of Robert Johnson. Let's talk about him. Now, Robert Johnson was a known American blues musician and songwriter, and he was born in 1911 in Mississippi, and boy, does he have a story. Now, Robert was very mediocre. I'm talking about really not good at all, and several people stated that. He even knew that. So what he did was, he took his guitar to the crossroads somewhere outside of Clarksdale near where he lived. He gave it to a man that he met at the crossroads, and he claimed that he sold his soul to the devil that night. He gave the man his guitar. The man tuned his guitar and handed it back to Robert. And after that, Robert was literally extraordinary. People stated like when he left, he was not good. But when he came back, he was one of the most known musicians in history. People would literally travel from everywhere just to hear this man play the guitar. Now, how you go from this mid guitar player to one of the best known? But the part that gets me is he went to the crossroads, and Papa Legba guards the crossroads. And Papa Legba is indeed not the devil. Now, many people believe that he was encountered with Papa Legba because he is who sits and guards the crossroads. But Papa also is who you have to go through to get to the other deities. But I just want y'all to know that he is not the devil. I don't know if that's who people are trying to say that is the devil, but Papa Legba is not the devil. But whatever he did and whoever he encountered with, it helped him. And he was extremely open about it. He even made several popular songs talking about his experience at the crossroads. One goes by the name of Crossroad Blues, where he says, "I went down to the crossroads and fell down on my knees." Another one of his popular songs is Hellhound on My Trail. They even featured him in a lot of different movies like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? It talks about him, and he even talks about how he sold his soul and he was just so here for it. They even talked about him a little bit on the show Supernatural. And you have several people that have literally traveled or passed by and took pictures and stopped to see the crossroads where he allegedly went to sell his soul. Now, sadly, he died at the age of 27, which a lot of people believe it was a part of like the huge 27 club or whatever you want to call it, which is basically this pretty much like a group of known celebrities that died at the age of 27, and people believe it's because of them selling their souls. Now, do I believe he was the first? Absolutely not. But I do believe he was probably like one of the first like people that was open about it, you know.
Please, 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 don't bring me to tears when I just did my makeup so nice. Heartbreak is one thing.
This is a voice spectral analysis of a person that has elephant man's disease. Well, we took this woman's vocal print, and here it is. And this is what it looks like on a computer. And look at this high point right here. See it up above the rest of the voice? Can you see that? There's a giant spike in this graph. We were able to look at that spike, and it told us exactly what compound in her body was causing this. And it was an isotope of calcium. And an isotope is like calcium, but not quite. It's like when you make a batch of cookies and you got one little scrawny looking cookie that's really a cookie, but kind of weird looking and doesn't fit with the group. Well, that's what an isotope is in layman's terms. We were able to look at this graph and see what that frequency was, and it was this isotope of calcium. We gave her the opposite of it. Now, elephant man's disease is incurable. Her particular kind couldn't even be operated on. It was inside the brain. It was crushing the brain inside the skull, and there was a spike of it in the optic nerve. She was legally blind. Asked her to describe her pain on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst. She said her pain was 13. When we gave her this frequency as an antidote, as an opposite frequency, the pain was gone in about 3 minutes. She said it was the biggest shot of Jack Daniels she'd ever had. The calcium has dissipated. She's not blind anymore. And when she came to us, her doctor said, death is imminent. This is what we can do with this. We can look at your body and reverse disease. We can reverse the effects of medication. We can tell you what nutrients you need by looking at your voice this way. There's also another way to look at your voice, and this is a different kind of voice spectral analysis. This is another way that we look at the voice. This is a different kind of computer printout, and in this voice I have marked some of the things that's going on. You still have this C, D, E, F, G, A, B, still have all the notes in your voice, but each of these notes have about 100 increments if you're going to use 2 decimal points. In this person's voice, they had A missing. Can you see that's obvious? And this one was very, very tall. There was too much D sharp. From these kinds of patterns, we're able to tell what kind of disease your body is susceptible to. In this particular person's voice, and this is one of the university professors we work with, we looked at the note of A, and we looked at the note of D sharp, and we could tell that he had a metabolism problem. And it dealt with hydrochloric acid. And we know that from some of the formulas that we've used. So we gave this man hydrochloric acid by frequency. Not by pill, by frequency. And you'll see when the next print goes up, what happens to his voice. It's clear and clean all the way across. This is a vocal print of a healthy person. By frequency. Not by pill. We were able to stimulate the body to build what it needed, hydrochloric acid. Now this particular gentleman chose not to stay on the frequency. If he wanted to do that, we have a little box, a little machine that he could have carried around with him, but he chose to carry around a bottle of hydrochloric acid. So he pops hydrochloric acid, and that does the same thing for him, whether you do it by pill or by frequency. We cannot create elements, but we can create compounds. We can trigger your body to make what it wants, what it needs. I find this whole idea fascinating. What can you really do with this? Not only with this kind of metabolism can we look at it, we can look at all the muscle parts of your body. We've had people come to us that had muscles that were in stress, and we have been able, by trial and error, to put these ranges on the muscles. We know by testing people whether to make them weak or strong, what can happen with that. A lot of people who've had strokes are paralyzed all on one side, and that's been a great gift to us for them to come to us. Well, I have all the muscles in the body mapped except these little ones inside the nose.
Sometimes you just have to let go, because action speaks louder than speaker. You are who are you. It is what is it. Don't chase, attack. People come, clean as you go. Take the risk, keep the change.
If you wanna get funky, go to America. If you wanna get funky now. If you wanna get funky, go to America. Getting down. If you wanna get funky, go to America. If you wanna get funky now. If you wanna get funky, go to America.